is how I know you go on. You're here. There's nothing I fear, and I know that my heart will go on.
So what happens when caffeine is introduced into the brain? So there's this chemical in your brain called adenosine. Adenosine helps slow brain activity. So as you go throughout your day, adenosine forms in your body and starts binding to these receptors. The longer you're awake, the more adenosine forms and binds to these receptors, which makes you more and more tired. So at 1 or 2 in the morning would be like the peak of when all this adenosine is accumulated, and is why you're so tired and can't study. Conversely, after you sleep, adenosine slowly starts being removed from these receptors, which helps make you more awake throughout the day. So when caffeine is introduced into your system, it starts binding to these adenosine receptors. And therefore, it stops the feeling of being tired and replaces that feeling with being more alert and more awake. So with long-term caffeine use, more adenosine receptors are formed, which is why you require more caffeine to feel the same level of alertness as before. The other problem with long-term caffeine use is, because you have more adenosine receptors, if you miss your daily dose of coffee, or if you're trying to quit the use of coffee, you will feel incredibly tired. More tired than you ever did before you even start drinking coffee, because you have more adenosine receptors to feel that effect of drowsiness.
So now that we've talked about caffeine in the brain, I'd like to take a moment to talk about caffeine in the body. So, when you drink a cup of coffee, such as this beautiful cup, it enters your mouth and goes through your esophagus and into your stomach. So because coffee, due to the molecular structure, it is soluble in both water and lipids, so it's able to enter the cell membrane and travel all the way up into your brain relatively quickly. So by the time you finish your first cup of coffee, you absorb 99% of the caffeine in approximately 45 minutes. And like the average cup of coffee has 150 milligrams. So in about 4 to 6 hours, which is caffeine's half-life, you should have about 75 milligrams in your body. So drinking more than a cup of coffee in a 4 to 6 hour time period would not be recommended, because you would accumulate all of this caffeine in your body, and with about 400 to 500 milligrams of caffeine in your body at one time, it can be considered unsafe. And that would be equivalent to about 5 to 10 cups of coffee. So theoretically, if you had 1 to about 1.5 grams of caffeine in your body, you would experience something called caffeine intoxication, which is not as fun as it probably sounds. So caffeine intoxication affects the entire body. In the central nervous system, some negative symptoms include irritability, anxiety, restlessness, confusion, delirium, headaches, and insomnia. In the musculatory system, negative symptoms include muscle spasms, trembling, and occasionally seizures.
In the digestive system, negative symptoms include abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting.
At this level, caffeine intoxication is about 1 to 1.5 grams. The lethal dosage is considered to be about 10 to 15 grams, so don't drink about 75 to 100 cups of coffee in a day, because you might just drop to the ground, and that would be bad. So here's about caffeine in the body.